This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Ready to go? How you feeling, Joe? You feeling good?
Yeah, a little better, Big O. Been fighting through various medical ailments, but happy to be with you today. I'm certainly feeling better today than I was a couple of days ago.
All right, well, you're looking sharp, my brother. Now, first of all, before we get into the whole X thing and your shitty grading system, has it gotten to an A now?
A is really tough, you know. I would say B plus for the Dolphins offseason. You know, no offseason is going to be perfect, but I do think Chris Grier has done a very good job.
Damn. What would make it an A? Just out of curiosity. What the hell? What kind of an offseason what would they need to add on top of this to make it an A? I know what it is.
It's hard to say. You'd have to go through each move and look at who may have been available and where they might have spent it. But I think that Chris Grier has spent very wisely in looking at the contracts that he's added. He's added two absolute superstars in Tyreek Hill and Teron Armstead, guys who really will change the entire complexion of the Dolphins offense. Then he locked up Xavien Howard on a contract extension, which is important for head coach Mike McDaniel.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like the running backs he brought in, Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. You know, you wonder whether they would have given Cedric Wilson that deal if they knew they were bringing in Tyreek Hill, probably, because I think they're probably ready to move on from Devontae Parker. There are some folks that I spoke to at the owners' meeting who question how good Connor Williams will be. You know, I don't know. I haven't studied Connor Williams' tape. Obviously, he had a penalty problem last year that the Dolphins think they can correct. But listen, very good offseason for Chris Grier. Very exciting offseason for Dolphin fans. That's why games are expected to sell out next season.
The only way you give him an A, if it would have been Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. That's the only way you give him an A. I know you, because since you're not a Tua guy, it's like if they replace Tua, that's the only way Joe Schad gives the Dolphins an A. Yes or no?
Hard to say. I don't know what Russell Wilson.
Get out of here. You wanted Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. You even said it on this show. Well, they should try to acquire, but they need to get a line and a running game for them. So if they would have gotten Brady or Rodgers or Wilson, you would have given them an A. Guaranteed.
Well, I mean, so your question is if the Dolphins had added Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers,
that's the only way you give him an A.
Would I have given Chris Grier an A? Very likely, yes.
Yes, okay. All right, because I give them an A already. They addressed their issues.
And Agba and Gesicki. Those go under the radar because they were players who were on the roster last year.
You didn't mention him. You didn't mention him, but Alex Ingold will make a huge impact on this team.
We need a fullback.
Enormous impact. He's going to save Tua from getting his ribs broken when Jesse Davis or somebody else misses a block. I know Jesse's not here, but my point is when somebody misses a block, Alex Ingold will be the guy to pick that thing up. Alex Ingold will be the guy to help the running game going. That's a guy that goes completely under the radar, and he's going to be a monster on this team because when you've had a gifted fullback in years past, and I've seen it, from the Tony Pages of the world back to Keith Byers and everything else that we've had, and we've had some other guys, Pallet and other guys that have had a little cup of coffee, but real fullbacks that we've had here, the offense is so much better when you have an impactful fullback.
So you think that I'm a negative guy, and I'm actually not. You think I'm actually negative only on Tua.
Yes.
And it's interesting monitoring the fan base. Obviously, a large percentage of the fan base believes that Tua will live up to expectations, will replicate some of the things that he did at the University of Alabama now that he has support. And we'll see. I certainly would like to see that happen. I think that that's great. It is interesting to me that Dolphin fans, and in general, there is an undertone of negativity and skepticism because they've been without a playoff win for 20 plus years.
It's just, yes. It's
Dolphin fans say, well, yes, it's been a good offseason. And I don't say that, but this is what I'm hearing. They say, well, yeah, it's been a good offseason, but they still haven't fixed right tackle and they still haven't fixed center. Do you think that right tackle? I'm asking you. Do you think that right tackle and or center are a bigger concern for the Dolphins in 2022 than quarterback?
Oh yeah, God, please, yes. Quarterback's
Right
not an
tackle
issue.
and center a
Quarterback.
bigger
That's the
concern.
difference. That's the difference with me, Joe. That question doesn't fly with me because I have zero concerns about Tua the player. I only want Tua to be protected like any other quarterback. Give the kid time and he'll do his job. Give him a running game and he's going to eat you up alive with that passing game because he's a smart kid. And if you have enough people out there that can get in space, which now you have people that can get in space, we had a bunch of plotters that couldn't get any separation whatsoever. Tua has that stat where he's like, he throws in some of the tightest windows in the NFL and has a pretty decent completion percentage and all of that. So, and this guy had the worst line in the league, and he was one of the least sacked quarterbacks. So there's a lot of things that can make.
But if pressure comes up the middle, they could kind of do a little stun around Michael Dieter. If Austin Jackson somehow beats out Liam Eichenberg at right tackle,
Alex Ingold will take out your
first
thigh.
game they run around Austin Jackson. Are you going to say, well, see, they didn't fix it? That's not Tua's fault. Is that what you're going to say?
I get that, but see, Joe, you're already jumping to the negative side of it, where I'm going to. Well, wait a minute. You had a bunch of clowns last year in coaching. They had no idea how to coach an offense. They had no idea how to coach a quarterback. They had no idea how to coach an offensive line. Well, in comes a real quarterbacks coach, a real offensive line coach, a real offensive line running game impresario, or whatever the hell you want to call Mike McDaniel. So now we've got people that actually know what the F they're doing. You know, Darrell Bevel forgot more about coaching a quarterback than any of the three clowns you had last year combined in their entire careers. And so where you and I differ is all these players will be better because the scheme will be better. The play design will be better and the coaching will be better. So that's where you and I go like this on this road. You're already painting these players into struggling, where I think they're all going to benefit from the coaching. Because if you
I didn't say they were going to struggle. I said if they struggle. You twist things up, man.
You said if. I'm not expecting them. You see, you say if. I'm not expecting them to struggle. I'm expecting them to play better because coaching failed this team. Not the players, the coaches. Why do you think they kept hitting on most of the players that are playing and starting on defense and even on the edge on offense? They're all good, but you had no coaching in the middle. So that's why those guys never ever thrived. But if they're hitting,
Noah Igbenogany hasn't hit. I know
they don't play. Hunter, and again, let's stay with the facts, Joe. Hunter and Noah do not play. So we don't know anything about them because they don't play. So until they play, then we can make it a full
they bypassed the chance to play Noah Igbenogany. They put the Justin Colemans and Nick Needhams of the world in ahead of him when they had a chance.
Because
so they obviously don't have belief. Listen, Noah's a nice kid, but they don't have belief in him.
Because they're two-way players, Joe. They're helping you on special teams. If Noah doesn't excel on special teams, you can't activate him and use him as a backup. So
how is he not good on special teams, by the way? I'm just saying. How is that possible? He's the son of two world-class athletes.
You know, what's it called? Sam Madison didn't play a lot of special teams either. He wasn't much of a special teamer at all. So it's just the way it is. Sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. You know,
so you think I'm negative, all right? Run to your online betting company of choice and put down some money on Dolphins over 8.5.
I will at the end of the month when I'm in Vegas, Joe, and it's legal.
That's an absurd line. 8.5 makes no sense.
So, but you would take the over there, right? Because they're a 9 and 10 win team.
Absolutely 9. Absolutely 9. Probably 10 at this point is my prediction. So
exactly with this offense, that's to me. Look, what inspired me also is watching that film from Brian Baldinger on how Mike designs running plays, where the linemen don't even have to make the biggest of efforts.
It's a better scheme. It's good. It's a better scheme. But
there's intelligence behind all of this.
It's a better scheme, and these guys are going to be better. But we can't assume that Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg are going to go from well below average offensive linemen to well above average offensive linemen, or even average. We can't assume.
I will go with you on Austin Jackson. I will go with you on Austin Jackson. On Austin Jackson, I will go with you. On Eichenberg, I will not. Notre Dame,
I think, is a lot better
Notre
than
Dame pumps out. Yes, Notre Dame pumps out linemen like it's going out of style.
It was weird that he gave up no sacks in 30 games, and then like whatever it was, 8 or 9.
That's my
I know
point.
the NFL is a different level and it's a different caliber of athlete that you're trying to stop.
Yeah, that's why I just think that I think the players were cheated last year so badly, and they won 10 games, dude. Think about that. Think about how poorly those players were cheated on offense, and they won 10 games. If they actually had real coaching, the Dolphins would have been in the playoffs.
So as we continue our conversation here, listen, I love this idea of locking up Xavien Howard on a new 5-year deal. I think he'll be 33 when it's over. He was underpaid. It was a contract that was a little bit unfair towards the club side. I did some research last night. Xavien has averaged 4.5 interceptions per year in his career. Now, that seems low because 2 of his 6 years, he only played a few games.
Yeah.
If X were to intercept 4.5, only 4.5 passes over the next 5 years, he would have 50, which would put him in Hall of Fame company, the likes of Darrell Green and Ty Law. And so this is a guy who, if he can stay healthy, is on a Pro Football Hall of Fame track and will go down as one of the greatest Dolphins in history. My question is, how concerned are you that in year 2 or 3 or 4, or certainly 4 or 5, he might not be quite so healthy with the knees? Do you worry about that?
That's always been my concern with him, my brother. You know, it's also my concern. The last time you signed them to a big deal, a domestic issue and a knee injury happened. And that's why you were forced to draft Noah Igbenogany the last time you gave him a fat ass deal. And he, for the last 2 years, fighting for more money, he has stayed away from knee injuries. So now he's got his guarantees. I want to see if those knee injuries start happening again and all that kind of stuff. So that is my
He has
concern.
competitive drive. He wants to be great. He wants to play. He's an alpha male. He's a dog. The Dolphins need alpha males. They've been lacking alpha males since the likes of Rashad Jones and Jarvis Landry. And now the Dolphins, this is a good column. This is why I do like to sometimes talk to you, Big O. You know, you get me fired up a little bit here or there. I'm not feeling well. I'm taking all these medicines. I got to be careful what I say. But how about this? I remember Jarvis Landry and Rashad Jones and Bobby McCain going at it in practice. Alpha males, absolute dogs.
Right.
What about Tyreek Hill versus Xavien Howard?
Yeah.
Absolute competitive dogs. How good is that going to be to watch in the spring and the summer? How much fun?
That's going to be fun, and it's going to make both guys going. That'll make both guys better. You know, overall, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch that. And listen, keeping X helps Jalen Phillips, helps Emmanuel Ogbah, because those are the guys that need to get after the quarterback. And we all saw the synergy between Sam and Pat and Jason and Zach and all these guys up front, that when you had that secondary taken care of, that front seven can just put incredible pressure. And the other thing, Joe, if you're able to run the ball this year, which I think you will, and if you're able to run the clock more and maintain possession, you should have a fresher defense in 2022. So the defense should be better from within, just by Van Ginkel getting better and Raekwon Davis getting better and all these young players getting better. But at the same time, if the offense is better, the defense will be less on the field. You'll have less 3 and outs, and you'll have a defense that can attack more. And if they have more of a lead, again, that would be a beautiful scenario for that defense, because as you know, with a lead, that defense is at its best.
I was trying to think about who I could see getting kind of feisty in a spring practice, one of those like mandatory spring mini camp things. Javon Holland is a guy who's got some fighter in him, a scrapper. I've actually seen Javon Holland, the rookie safety from last year, will be a sophomore this year, practicing on the sidelines with boxing gloves. So he is literally a fighter. And Jalen Waddle, he is an absolute scrapper. So the Dolphins have added 3 guys who have that competitiveness level of an Xavien Howard in the last year, in Tyreek Hill, Javon Holland, and Jalen Waddle. These are the kinds of guys you want to go to war with.
I agree.
Yeah, those. And so I like this angle. This is going to be a column maybe Monday.
There you go.
As Mike McDaniel prepares to address his full team for the first time. And if I could give Mike some advice, it would be, man, just be yourself. Don't try to be anyone else.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get anything else. I don't think you're going to get anything else. He looks like the kind of guy.
Sincere.
Right. Doesn't he look like he's really comfortable being himself? And by the way, being yourself seems like you've won everybody over, dude, that you've been with in your life. Like, nobody says anything bad about the guy. Like, players and everything, like, they gravitate to his ass.
Now, it is harder when you're the head man in charge.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So there will be some challenges being a head coach for the first time. The next time we talk to Mike and the players, this will be something to talk about, adjusting to being a head coach for the first time. So, coaches have always said, Big O, all this stuff comes across your desk that you never used to have to deal with. And, all the problems, whether it's somebody's girlfriend or wife or some, it could be anything. And, standing in front of the room is a different deal too. But I know that Kyle Shanahan has said that he gave Mike opportunities to stand in front of large groups. And Mike has really worked on his presentation and his delivery and his presence, including with the media. And I love that he's just so open about it, man. I love that this guy doesn't think he has everything figured out. He's confident and smart, but he's not arrogant.
Right.
And you've seen some coaches who came across as arrogant.
Right. What I like about him, and I've had an opportunity recently to kind of play boss and some of these things, and had to deal with young people and dealing with young people in general. He just seems to have a demeanor that's a little better to dealing with millennials, to dealing with Generation Zs. And I just think that you kind of have to have some kind of a skill set nowadays to kind of deal with this younger generation, because it's a little different, man. It's a little more sensitive. It's, and to me, McDaniel just seems to be like the kind of guy that can reach them a little bit better than the classic ogre coach, which that's kind of what it seemed Flores was, or a Jimmy Johnson or other coaches in the past that have kind of that old style. And I don't know if that old style is working perfectly. The best parents. Yeah. Sorry, man. The best parents, the best coaches, what they have in common is that they convince people that the things they want them to do are things that they want to do. And they help them understand and believe, instill a belief in them that it is the right thing and it is the smart thing and it is the best thing for them too. And so the worst coaches and the worst parents are the ones who just say, this is the way to do it because this is the way we do it and this is the way it's going to be done. And they don't connect with their child or their player. And I think McDaniel is going to be able to connect with people, players, media, all of us. It's great. By the way, don't forget to smash the like button while you're watching here, the American Dream Lending Miami Dolphins report with Joe Schad. All right, Joe, so with this deal, they also open up some cash. We asked Cam earlier. He didn't think so, that they're going to be too much, active, like in big names. Like I screwed around with J.C. Treader. He doesn't think so. Maybe minimal free agents. Is that where we're done now, or maybe role player type guys that might be brought in, but nothing more than that?
I agree. If they bring in a center, it's probably, it's not necessarily going to be a high-priced center. There are, by the way, 3 centers that I identified in a recent Palm Beach Post column who could be good options for the Dolphins at the end of the 3rd round. And you can find that on the website. There are 3 centers and 2 middle linebackers that I think are good options for the Dolphins with the 102nd pick, which is at the end of the 3rd round. Now, there are some areas where the Dolphins could clear a little money. You could cut or restructure a guy who I very much like in Eric Rowe, for example. I thought a Clayton Fedulum would get cut, but instead they just restructured his deal. So you'd like to see the Dolphins do that with Eric Rowe.
Right. And Parker still could get traded, by the way. That could be an extra pick at the end of the month. They could be getting an extra pick for Parker.
Yeah, and one thing you could do there, Big O, is what if you trade a 4 or a 5 with Parker for a 2? Now you're back in the second round. See, I like that option.
Yeah, that's good. That helps me broadcasting in Vegas to at least be able to have a Dolphin pick to talk about in the second round.
Yeah, my mock draft doesn't have quite the same appeal that it would have had prior.
But don't worry, Joe. I'm in Vegas, so it always has appeal. So it doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm in Vegas, so it's all right. Some guy asked me, "So are you canceling the trip?" I go, "Are you out of your mind? You're asking me I'm going to cancel a trip to Vegas? No, dude. Plus, you never know. With Chris Greer, that's the other thing we don't know. They could be in the first round. You never know with this guy. He could make a trade. It could happen. I think
they're in the mode. I think they're in the mode where unless they're dumping a player like Parker, they're more about using their picks.
Yes,
and it's a different phase.
Yes.
Which is it's fun. I mean, look, they tore it down, they rebuilt it. Is this a championship caliber roster? No, not at this point. The odds makers say the Dolphins are somewhere around the 10th best team in the AFC. I disagree. I think they're more in that 6 to 8 range. Okay. Look, we're going to be talking about Tua for the next few months, and it's fine. I do think he's going to be improved. I do think the offense is going to help. The players around him are going to help. The coaching is going to help. I think we're going to be writing a lot of positive things about Tua, and that includes me.
All right. So tell me, what are you writing in the Palm Beach Post so folks can subscribe, please, and check you out?
Well, I posted a story about Xavien Howard's new contract. You can find that. I also wrote that article that I mentioned about options for the 3rd round. And I'll be looking ahead to what the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel, the unanswered questions are as players report to camp, including Xavien Howard, thankfully, as early as Monday. As you mentioned, they need to pick up a punter. They need to pick up a center. But, maybe not in the best position to spend big bucks at this time. So not necessarily high-price additions, but still a few questions to be answered.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe, baby, and catch his work there at the Palm Beach Post. Subscribe and catch him twice a week here with our American Dream Lending Miami Dolphins report. Joe, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Get better. Get some rest.
Take care, buddy. Thanks. See you.
You got it.
When you're ready to
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.